Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Healthy AF. I am so delighted to have here my friend Crystal Askew Lawson. She has been a champion of mine for a little bit now, and I have absolutely loved having her by my side, creating new things together. And she's an inspiring coach, and I am delighted to bring her here to you. Welcome, Crystal.
Thank you, Amy. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. This podcast will drop on July 1, so we have the brand new month sitting upon us. I thought it would
Woohoo.
be a great, well, I know, right? Ice cream and cookouts this
There
month.
you go.
And I thought it would be great to kick it off with like, who are you? What do you do? Tell us your story. I'll sit and listen.
Oh my goodness. Who am I? Well, I am Crystal Askew Lawson. I am many things that I assign myself. I am a health and wellness coach, which is one of the things that I love, love, love to do. I'm also a wife and a mom and a grandmom, if you can believe it. I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend,
Mm.
all the things, right? And and so I've really been on a journey to coming to this point that I am. And I got started as a health and wellness coach coming up on about 14 years ago.
Wow. That was
And
before it was cool. I have to
that
say
was
that.
way before it was
That was
cool.
before
That
it was
was
cool.
way before it was cool. Really new, where people are saying, "What in the world is that? And why is it important?" Well, it was important for me personally. I first became a health and wellness coach for me because the learning helped me to break away from some things, change my mindset about some things, and especially around my health and wellness, right? I was the typical superwoman, right? I got the kids, I got the husband, I got the house, I got the job, right? And I'm go, go, go. I can do everything, right? I can do it all. And I can do it as if I'm a computer and
Hmm.
not a person. And your body has a way, God has a way of saying, hey, excuse me, something's got to change here. And that change came from for me on a Sunday afternoon driving up Highway 40. You're familiar with 40 West.
You know I am.
And I fell asleep behind the wheel.
Oh my gosh.
And when I came to myself, first of all, I'm like, why is my car not moving? Second of all, I'm like, why are these poles and wires here? Those wires and poles that separate the east and westbound lane or the
Oh my
north and
gosh.
southbound lane, they work. And gratefully, thankfully, I walked away from that.
Mm.
And without a scratch, without a single scratch, I walked away from that. Um, and what I walked away with was a newfound mindset about what it means to take care of yourself,
Mm.
right? Because before then, I was like sleeping very little, exercising very little, eating terrible. Like my main diet was Chick-fil-A, waffle fries, and that lemonade, and
Oh,
then a
okay.
Krispy Kreme donut for dessert. Now,
Oh.
that's
That's a week. Just saying it makes me like nostalgic and kind
oh,
of like, who is the hot now sign on? I am
it's the
there.
hot now sign on, right? But and I realized that I had to make some changes. And then the real kicker came, because what do we do when we're not feeling well, when something's not going right? We go to the doctor, right? Because they're supposed to help us and they're supposed to have the answers. And I have nothing against doctors. They are good for what they are good for.
Mm.
And when you're looking for though a holistic approach, when I'm not one that wants to take a bunch of pills, I want to know, okay, so why is this happening to me? What's the root cause? Let's get to that before you give me a pill, because this pill could potentially cause 15 other things that I've got to have 10 other pills for.
Mm.
And so I went to the doctor, had all these tests done, and they settled on I had unspecified joint pain, which, like, what does that even mean? And they gave me a medication that was awful. It's like, okay, I'll take it because, when you go to the doctor, you just take what they say take. You don't really read the thing. I didn't read the thing until the next day when it wore off, and I'm like, I can't. I sit up and I fall over. Right, I'm feeling worse
Mm.
than I was. I still have the joint pain that's unspecified. Like, what is happening? And I called the doctor and I said, "Listen, this is what's happening," and was told immediately, "Well, you can't stop taking it."
Oh.
Um, and I said, "Well, I appreciate, what you've done for this, but I can stop taking it. I have. And so this is what I'm going to do." So I quit Chick-fil-A cold turkey. I quit
Mm.
Krispy Kreme cold turkey and started to feel better, started to move, started to drink more water, started to do basic things. I started to pay attention to what I was doing, what I was putting into my mouth, what I was thinking about, all of those things. And so that was the beginning of me becoming a health and wellness coach because I practiced on myself, if you will. And then I learned as I talked to more people is I learned that number one, self-care is like taboo still, even today, even though it's talked about more and more, it's still a little bit taboo. And people didn't feel empowered to put themselves at the top of their list. And people also didn't feel empowered to push back on what the doctor was saying, to take an active role in their health care. And so all those things came together to create simple and complicated living because it's really simple. It's not easy yet. It's really simple, right? You
Mm.
go to sleep, you drink your water, you eat your vegetables, right? You move your body,
Yeah.
and you become self-aware, right? You listen to when something makes you burp, or something you eat or do or don't do makes you not sleep so well, or your skin starts to do weird things, right? All these are warning signs that are like flashing lights saying, hey, 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 pay attention to this. So
Mm.
I may have told you more than you wanted to know, and that is who I am. I'm passionate about self-care. I'm passionate about putting yourself at the top of the list. Um,
Okay, so it's not more than I wanted to know, and I can't believe that you fell asleep on I-40. That is so dangerous. If anyone doesn't know what I-40 is, it's in
mhm,
Raleigh, 4 lanes, which is where Crystal is. She's in Raleigh.
mhm.
Um, in most of the places, it's 2 lanes on either side. It's 70 mile an hour in some parts, 65 mile an hour in other parts. And my baby girls had an accident on I-40, and it was terrifying. So
Yes.
I can only imagine the wake up invitation you
Exactly.
received that day to start taking care of yourself.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
tell me, okay, I've got 2 questions.
Okay.
One is, I was just listening actually to that book, Immunity to Change, today in the very beginning part of it. And it talks about
Okay.
like why people don't change. And it listed this study of like people who go to the cardiologist and they are literally told by the cardiologist, hey, if you don't change your lifestyle, you will be dying, like post haste. And 1 out of 7 people actually make changes.
That's
And
scary.
it is scary, and it's so for me so normal. It's normal in my own life. Like, how many times have I known, like, dude, if you keep doing this, bad stuff is going to fall into your lap. And lo and behold, do I change? No, I do not. So, like, bad stuff comes to me, and I'm like, well, yes, I knew this was happening, right? And my clients who come have experienced it time and time and time again that they know what to do. Like you said, it's simple, but they don't maybe know how to get started, know how to be consistent, know how to shake their brains loose enough to
Right.
start. So, my question for you is, how did you do that? Did you do it all by yourself? Was it just like the invitation to wake up was rather large? What was going on?
Well, the wake up. So after the accident, right now, I'm people what people might call weird and strange, right? I hop out of the car like, okay, what's going on? Call a tow truck. let's go. I got to keep doing stuff, right?
Hey, okay, but put a pin in that. I actually don't think that's weird for like a lot of the women that I know.
Mhm. Mhm.
There is no pause button.
There's no pause button.
And I'll say all for all of humanity, right? We live in such reactionary times that
Yes.
there's never a response. It's just a reaction, like, oh, this thing happens. Okay, next is this. This thing happens. Next is this. Next,
Absolutely.
I totally used to live that way, so I get it.
Absolutely. Here was the defining moment in that experience. There were two defining moments in that experience. One was the highway patrol shows up to get in the car, and he said, just the sweetest person ever. And he said, in the sweetest, calmest voice, "What happened?"
Hmm.
And I broke down in that moment. Like, because first of all, I don't know what happened. Like, I'm driving, I come off 95 off that exit, and then the next
Oh
thing
my
I know,
gosh.
I'm sitting in a patrol like, and so the reality hits, like anything could have happened. It's only by the grace of God that there was no traffic coming up at that point. None. Right. And then the other defining moment was after I get home. And once I started crying at that point, I cried. I literally cried for 3 days straight. I cried on the phone with the insurance company. But I was laying on the couch and I had these pictures of my girls. They were 4 and 6 at the time.
And they were not
Unfortunately,
with you.
they were
You were
not
by
with me. I
yourself.
had dropped them off at my mom's with my sister, them along with my 4-year-old nephew who I had at the time as well. But I'm sitting on the couch looking at these two beautiful little faces, thinking about what if they had been in the car with me? What if I wasn't sitting here looking at these pictures? Like all the things that, and then realizing like all the things that I had been doing where I thought I was doing the right thing, because this is what I've seen. This is what we see. This is what we see on TV. This is what we see our friends do. This is what we've seen our parents do, right? You just go, 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 go. And it was in that moment that it's got to change. It's got to change. And so, did I do it by myself? Not really, right? Prayer, patience, faith, common sense finally kicked in. The common sense finally kicked in, right?
Mhm.
um, and then, letting friends and family know what I was doing. Now, I will tell you, I said
Mm.
not really doing it by myself. This is a big change. When you do a 360, not even a 180, when you do a 360 and you're doing things differently than people know you to be doing, it's difficult for them to watch, right? It's difficult for them to say, "Wait, that's not really normally how you respond. That's not how you normally react. That's you're not normal. Like what's wrong with you?" Nothing's wrong with me. It's what's getting right with me is what it
Mm.
is. And
Oh
so,
gosh. Wait,
yeah,
let's repeat that for the people in the back.
there's nothing wrong with you. It's what's getting right with you,
Mm.
right?
I
Because
love
I
that.
became self-aware.
And I don't want to step over what you said that for you and me, I know we probably know that it's important, but for other people, I think it gets stepped over a lot. You said you shared what you were going through with other people.
Hmm.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge because they do look at you and like, what's, you know,
Hmm.
and if you've shared with them what you really want and why you're really doing it,
Right.
A, they have some inkling of what's going on, but B, they can support you.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
best case scenario, they support you. Worst case scenario, they know you're not crazy because you're doing, they might think you're crazy, but they know why you're being crazy.
They know
You
why
know,
I'm being
they
crazy.
know why.
Yeah.
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 And that's a huge, having that support from
Mhm.
our structures, our social structures,
Right.
as we decide to make massive
Mhm.
360-degree change, even 50-degree changes. Okay.
Even
Like
2
just a,
degree changes. Let's be
yeah,
real.
a 45-degree, like opening in the door. Yeah.
Right.
Sharing is huge. I
Mhm.
love that. Okay. So you had a huge fear moment of what if my kids were in the car and what if I left my kids motherless.
Mhm. Mhm.
That is a gift. That fear moment, that's a gift.
Yes.
And something brought you to share,
Mhm.
and you leaned into your higher power.
Mhm. For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And I think you said earlier, people know what to do, they just don't do it. And because we do, right? We don't have, I heard this at a conference I was at a couple of weeks ago. We don't have an information problem, we have an implementation problem, right?
Yeah.
So we have all the information that we need to do whatever it is that we need or desire to do. It's just implementing it. And there could be so many reasons. There could be fear, there could be lack of support, there could be self-doubt, right? Any number of reasons that keeps us from making the changes that we know we need, right? I think for me and what I've experienced and what I've seen, the biggest component is the unwillingness for people to share with their community or with their sphere, right? The
Yep.
people that they're closest with, and they don't share for fear of them not understanding, of them not supporting, when in reality the mere fact of you sharing that, with you expressing this is what I need, this is what I'm going to do to try to make it better, is the beginning of the change process, because you've acknowledged it, you've spoken it into existence, it's hit the ears of other people. Now, whether they do anything with it or about it, or it really doesn't matter, right? It matters that you got it out, and that then from there you can move forward.
Yeah. And I'd even say just having, I am not going to share online
No.
a big, yes, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Um, a big behavioral shift for me. I'm in that stage of change where I'm thinking about it. In fact,
Okay.
I would say that I've been thinking about it for a long time, and now I'm sort of thinking about it.
Oh, that's exciting though.
It is exciting, and it's funny. I have not shared it with anyone, with anyone, and it's a very uncomfortable little spot. And whenever, you know, okay, you know me, Crystal. So I share just about everything with everybody, right? I'm not afraid for you to think I'm stupid. I'm not afraid for you to see me fail. I'm not afraid. I've just lived too much life to be
Mhm.
in those specific shoe boxes. But for some reason that I haven't quite pinpointed, this one is tender. Maybe it's tender enough or vulnerable enough that I'm just not quite ready to
Mhm.
share. And while it's only in here, and I tell my people this, an idea that lives in your head will never become a reality until something happens out here. Something
Mm.
has to happen out here. And speaking it into existence, saying those words out loud, that's sometimes the very first step. Just saying, like, hey, I'm thinking about making this change.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I know.
You're gonna do it. You're gonna do
I'm kind of excited too, but we'll have to see. Maybe once I
it.
get through that whole process and it's a little less tender, I'll be
Right.
ready to share. Because
And
there is,
sometimes you do have to sit with it, right? Even
mm,
when the thinking, there's some changes that you're just like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna pull the trigger. Right. There's other ones, like you're saying, you have to sit with it,
yeah,
right?
and
Because
some of them are more tender.
once you release it, it's like releasing the train from the station on downhill with no brakes, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, I'm so glad that you have made changes in your life. I want to know. So you said that self care was something you were massively passionate about, and it relates to how you ended up having this very full life that was a go, go, go that also put you asleep on a massive
Mhm.
interstate.
Mhm.
Um, and you've made changes, how do you see self care play into where you got and where you are now?
That's a great question. I see self-care as playing a major role in that because and as I had to look back at one point to go forward, right? As I mentioned that I got diagnosed with unspecified joint pain, right? Which, caused a lot of inflammation. It caused me to be tired, a whole bunch of things, right? And when I look back at that period where I'm like, wasn't very present with my kids, wasn't very present with anybody. Like I was physically in the space.
You
You
just
can
described
relate
my
to that, right?
motherhood. Yes, yes. I mean, there were times that there were some great motherhood times. Like
Mhm,
I would come home, and if it was a rainy day, I'd have the children, we'd pull it just barely into the driveway and pop out. And I'd say, put your feet in the curb where the water was rushing down the hill.
mhm,
Now,
mhm.
that was a very present moment. It was a physically stimulating,
Beautiful.
cold water on your feet. So we were inside our bodies, using our bodies to be
Right,
present. A lot of times I
right.
say to people, find your feet, find your feet. But like if that happened, I don't know, every time it rained hard, but without thundering and lightning, and that was the time that I was present, there were lots of other times that it was just go, 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 do.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's just a matter of being present, right? Yet once I decided to make the change, the train started rolling, right? Then I could look and I was doing things that before I was like, I'm just too tired. We're just gonna sit. I'm just gonna sit here. Like y'all go over there and do whatever. Gonna
God,
sit
please,
right
please
here.
go
Like
entertain yourselves because mama
go
ain't got nothing
entertain
on the plate.
yourself. Don't break anything. Don't hurt anybody, right? And we're just gonna be
With
fine.
like one ear. Like if I stop
Yes.
hearing them, then I'll have to go.
Or
Yeah.
maybe they're asleep. Who knows, right? And it's got to be a certain pitch of the cry. Something's broken
Yes.
or bleeding. I should go. But other
Yeah.
than that, right.
Mm-mm.
And so just looking back to move forward, right? To say, how do I want to show up? How do I want to feel?
Mm.
How do I want to be present? And what does that do for the people that I'm with when I'm fully present? And so looking at that now I have, as amazing as I thought my life was before the accident, right? Because to that point, I was living the American dream, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever that is, or apparently a nightmare. But anyway, um, and now it's just so much richer and fuller right
Mm.
now because I get to choose, right? I get to choose what I'm doing, how I show up, where I show up versus making choices based on what society or my friend group or other people or the infamous they, whatever they said I should be doing, right? and and the other thing that was is really that really helped me, if you've been on an airplane and they have that speech about the mask dropping down, right? And I looked at that differently after the accident versus before,
Mm.
right? When they said that mask drops down and you put your mask on first. I'm like, well, that's rude. I'm not gonna not put my kid's mask on, right? I'm like, right. Yet before that was before the accident. After the accident, like because I didn't put my mask on, I jeopardized
Yeah.
my kid's future.
Mhm.
I jeopardized my husband's future, right? Of me not being there because I did not care enough about them to take better care of me.
Mm.
So now I use that analogy all the time. Put your mask on first, otherwise you're going to be passed out and on the other person and y'all are both out of here. Right? So
Yeah.
you have to put your mask on first. And so I go beyond self-care to extreme self-care. Like what's the extreme, right?
Okay. Okay. Share.
So
I know what
extreme,
my extreme self care
yeah.
is. What's yours?
And it
We'll
could
work
and
it
it could
out.
be different for everybody. For me, it's getting a massage.
Mm.
It's getting a facial. It's going to see the chiropractor, which people are like, don't see the chiropractor. Woo, 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 whatever. If you get a good chiropractor and a good massage therapist, life is it can be really great for you. Eating well, right? Finding a hobby. Like I love to garden. I love to
Mm.
dance. I
Oh,
love to laugh, right? All the things. And I am so silly, as some have called me. Um, and I love it because I can just start laughing for no reason at all, right? Just like one of the things in my present moments with the kids, I would do like, let's just have a laugh party. Like we're just gonna laugh for no reason.
oh wow, mom, that is way out there.
Yeah, and you start laughing. It's almost like, have you ever seen a movie or where somebody starts running and then everybody else starts running? They don't know why they're running. They just see somebody running. They're like, oh, we better run. Laughing is the same way.
It is. I've
You
done that
start
in
laughing.
a couple workshops where like
Yeah.
they're like, okay, just start laughing. And
Hmm.
you're and even me, like I feel like I'm fairly uninhibited, fairly. And I feel so embarrassed with the just start laughing. I'm like, oh God, this feels weird. I don't want to do this. And about 2 seconds
Wow.
in, like it's big belly. Yes. Yes, girl.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
that's internal exercise. Laughter is internal exercise.
Hmm. Yeah,
You
it's
could do
so
the
good
same
for
thing
you.
in the store when you hear a song. Come on, just start dancing. Now my husband is not a fan. He's like, because people really look at you weird when you're just dancing in the grocery store, like or wherever. Because
No, I have been known. I mean, it
why
comes out of
not?
me in the most inconvenient time. Sometimes it comes out before I know it is coming
Mhm.
out. One day I was
And
walking
who's
in
it
a gun
inconvenient
store.
for?
What's that?
Who's it inconvenient for though?
Well, occasionally it's inconvenient for me. I was gonna say I was in a gun store one time. My my former husband had a lot of well, stuff. And so I would take that back and forth. There wasn't a gun store where we lived. And so I would be the kind of runner back and forth, take it.
Mhm.
And I'm in that store, which was not a super comfortable place for me.
Mm.
And so that's what made it inconvenient. I think it wasn't a comfortable place for me. A song was on, and I did like a pivot turn ball change.
Oh, okay.
And somebody said to me, like, "Oh, you getting your," and I was like, "Oh yeah." But yeah, I guess that was a comfort mechanism in a little
Mm.
spot. So
Yeah.
yeah, not always convenient, but it just pops right out when it pops out.
Yeah.
And hey,
It
I'll take,
pops.
because that for me is my self care.
Yep.
Like if my body, I'm a big mover. You know,
Mhm.
if I need to have a well, I told you before we started that sometimes I kick the desk during the podcast or hit the mic, or I'm away from the mic, close to the mic, hands flailing. I need to be up and moving.
Mhm.
And so when I structured my business and my work day and how I was going to, like, I've got a place outside that I can stand up under the shade and do coaching sessions or work. I do have a swivel chair, a stool. I've got a
Okay.
basketball. Sometimes when I work with my virtual assistant, I'm up and moving and like cleaning off the porch while I'm talking and creating, and they're capturing that because that's how I take care of me. I say,
Mhm.
okay, what do I
I love
need?
it.
What permission do I need to be my best creative self? Well, I need permission to get up and move around because
Mhm.
that's how
Mhm.
this girl rolls.
I love
So,
it.
yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, so I think sometimes it's the things that we don't think about. Like, I need permission to I need permission not to take that casserole over when I hear that somebody's in the hospital because the default mode for my Southern woman upbringing is, well, you got to take casserole, right?
I'm
You don't,
sorry.
you don't show up. I know you don't show up with a casserole within 24 hours, and
You're right. That is a Southern woman default.
yes, you are some dirt. And it doesn't matter what else you got going on. You stop dropping casserole, you
Stop
know?
dropping casserole.
And it's not that I don't casserole. Like, I took some chicken enchiladas to a Sunday school member who'd had a surgery. Like,
Mhm.
but the stopping, the pause to choose. You also
Mm.
said that word, choose.
Yes. Yes.
The stopping to choose. Does it work for me? Is my oxygen mask on so that I can oxygen mask casserole somebody else,
Right.
you know, and go from there?
Mhm.
Not just the societal expectations, familial expectations, cultural expectations,
Right.
self
Right.
expectations.
Yeah. The thing that the word in that I that came up, that popped up or illuminated for me, was permission.
Girl, please.
Like, who do you need permission from? Right. And it's really how we're trained, how we're raised, right, to get permission. Like, you got to get permission or validation from somebody else. We never ever get taught to validate ourselves. We never get taught that what we say, what we think, what we believe is enough
Mm,
for who we are, which I think is a disservice to society, right? We all are created beings. We all are healthy and happy and whole. We all are filled with everything that we need to be successful for life and godliness, as the Bible would say, right? We have everything. We come here fully equipped.
yeah.
And somewhere between birth and probably around 35, maybe 40, maybe 45, right? We're like, wait a minute, Lyle, whose life have I been living? And now
Mm,
it's time for me to start, giving myself permission
mm.
to take care of myself without guilt
Well,
or
even to
shame.
have feelings. I was
Oh,
working with
yeah.
a client the other day, and she was sharing how she sort of had this momentary feeling. And she said to me, I was saying, like, well, where do you want to focus this session? And she said to me, like, well, I'm feeling this way, but I know that it's just because of this and this. And, tomorrow I'm going to be fine. And I've got this and this and this to do and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, hang on. And so usually when I coach, I take my Zoom screen and put it small up at the top. And then I have my other window open so that I can type in notes as
Mhm,
I'm,
mhm.
for the clients,
Right.
so helpful to read your notes after. So I said, hang on a minute. And I made my Zoom screen big, right? So I
Get
had
it
her on my
going.
whole screen. I did. And
Yeah.
I just came right up into that and I said, hey, I give you permission to feel, and she just
Whatever
started
you're
crying.
feeling.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
just started crying. And it just all sort of started coming out. And I was like, I give you permission to be whatever way you are. And it wasn't Amy Chang giving it to her, right? It was her own self.
Yeah. You were holding space for her to give herself that.
I did. I laid out that welcome mat
Mhm.
because we don't do that. And that for me is the kind of self care that allows me then to drop my plastic credit card over at my chiropractor,
Mm.
to take scheduled time out of my day to work with my energy worker. I'm working doing some body code work this afternoon and I am thrilled to death about it.
I
You
look
know,
forward to hearing about that. Tell me
oh
about that
girl,
next time we speak.
best thing ever. And so, like, but I don't even know that I need those things if I don't give myself permission to stop and feel what it is that I am feeling and
Mhm.
not rush through it and not gloss over. It was she wanted to do gloss over, like, oh yeah, I feel really poopy stink right now, but tomorrow I'm gonna, I'm like, whoa. There's no honoring. There's just no honoring in glossing over that experience and not
Right.
letting ourselves be there because it's telling us something.
Mhm.
And
It's
so,
it's that awareness.
yeah, I mean that wake up invitation on 40 was telling me something.
It's telling me something. Girl, you
Yeah,
need to
that
go to sleep,
poopy.
number one.
You need a nap, Crystal. Is
You
what
need a nap. And the interesting thing about that, not to belabor the point, the interesting thing about that, before I left my sister's house, my sister said, she always called me sweetie. She was like, sweetie, you should just lay down, just sit down, have something to eat, just rest a minute. And I was
Mm,
like, no, 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 I gotta go because I gotta do that, 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 that. And so that's how it ends up, right? Like, and sometimes other people will notice things and they'll try to coach you or tell you or
yep.
warn you or say, hey, why don't you think about
Right.
this? Hey,
Help
what?
a
And you
sister
just
out.
keep going. Yeah.
Just help a
My
sister
sister
out a
was
little
trying to
bit.
help me out. She was trying to help me out and I didn't listen. And
Yeah.
so that's what happens. But now I'm
Well, to be
hyper aware
fair,
of listening to myself.
to be fair, none of us listen.
What
Right?
true.
Like, well, that's the same thing with the cardiologist who can tell you what to do.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
mean, you're ready for it when you're ready for it,
You're ready when you're ready.
and everybody has their awakening invitation in different forms.
Hmm.
It could be that high cholesterol. It could be that huffing and puffing it through the Walmart parking lot. It could be the car accident. It could be whatever it is.
Hmm. For sure. For
Yeah,
sure. And we have to give ourselves grace.
all day
Right.
long,
Like you
girl.
said, give yourself grace, give yourself permission to just be.
Mm,
We're human beings, not human doings, right? You probably heard that before.
girl.
Human beings. And so what does it look like to just be, right? What if you just stopped? What if you just took a whole day, a Sabbath day where you didn't do
Mm,
anything? You didn't
yeah.
do nothing.
And to be clear, that doesn't mean not doing anything. It means, like
Right.
there are days I still struggle with this a little bit where I get on my bike and I go down to the beach. And of course, I've got all my doing, right? I've got my journal, I've got my devotional readings, I've got my phone to listen to music or a podcast or a meditation, and I've got my shaboomy because I can't be up in the shade or and I've got my chair and I've got my and sometimes I like to dig.
Whew.
I do. I play at the beach. And there are days when I just go and I just sit
And
and
all that's
nothing really
okay.
moves me. Yeah, nothing really moves me to none of my play is moving me at the moment. And there are times that I fight it in my head, like, well, should I go for a walk? Should I get in the water? Should I dig something? I don't know. It's like a mother talking to a child. Amy, do you want to play crayons? Do you want to get out the Play-Doh? Do you want to take a nap? Do you want to? And I'm just like, it's a pretty
Oh,
good day, just me sitting here.
being present with yourself.
Yeah. And the
I
world
love
around me, watching the children and children on the beach, watching the grown up children on the beach. That's fun.
for sure. For sure.
But it's taken me
Yeah.
51 years to get here and a lot
Yeah.
of awakening invitations
Hmm.
for
Well,
sure.
welcome. I like to welcome people to the other side. Yeah, I
Yeah.
still have friends that look at me like, what are you doing? Like, how are you doing that? Like, why
Mm.
are you not doing XYZ? Because I don't want to.
Yeah.
And it's okay not to want to.
Mm.
It's okay that you want to, right?
Yeah,
We're all different. It's
absolutely.
whatever you need in this moment. That's probably what you should take. Because
Mm.
if you have too many times where you force yourself into moments that you really don't want or even need to be in, it's gonna turn out you might fall asleep at whatever. It
Yeah.
might not be on a busy highway, right? Your fall asleep and wake up moment may come in a different form.
Yeah.
But the more you suppress who you are and what you want, the worse the explosion will be when it finally, because it's gonna come out. Like your true self is gonna come out somewhere at some point,
Yeah.
right? And why not just let it be? Let's just let that be your default, being
Mm.
you.
Yeah. I can't tell you the joy that it brings up when you say, like, you don't have to do that. I just feel like so like,
Yeah, you
yeah.
don't have
It's
to.
yeah. What you said, you don't have to force yourself. And I'm thinking the massive jump between forcing yourself and giving yourself permission. It's a
It can be.
massive
It
jump.
it can be a massive jump because it's just so foreign. It's a foreign thought to
Mhm.
us because, like I said, we've been raised, we've been conditioned, if you will, right? You got to go to school and you got to sit here for 8 hours, and then when they say it's time for you to go play, then you go play, and then when they say it's time to stop playing, then you stop playing, and then you have to come back, right? Think about if we allowed kids to, or if we took the time to learn what a child's learning style really is.
Yes.
Some kids are cool sitting with that structure. I'm going to sit here for eight
Mm,
hours. I'm going to play for half an hour. I'm going to nap, whatever that is. And some just need, like you were saying earlier, they need to move. They need to
yes.
kick the desk. They need to, right? And it's not that they're being disruptive. And unfortunately, I learned this, when my kids were way older, right?
Mm,
It's not that they're being disruptive because they're kids and they don't know, but they come here, like I said earlier, they come here with everything that they need. And as parents, I'm gonna speak for myself. I'm trying to make them many versions of me instead of allowing them to be all that movement, right? All that quiet time in the corner, whatever they were
mm,
expressing, they were expressing their true self.
mm.
And I missed it in some regards. Now, once I learned better, I did better, right? And they're
Well, always,
very
right?
self-sufficient now. And sometimes I'm like, "Ugh." They're like, "Well, mom, you said," Ugh, I did. Go on about your business.
I love that. How old are they now?
They are 28 and 26.
28 and 26. And how old's the grandbaby?
The grandbaby is, I guess he would be 22 months. He'll be, or
Girl.
22 and a half, 20, I don't know, 23 months. He'll be 2 in August. And his sister will be here in August. So I'm really excited.
Oh, wow. You're going to have a full plate. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's talk about something really quick because we have something in July that needs to happen
Yes, we
before the
do.
grandbaby comes in August.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
tell everybody all about well, first of all, like start from the beginning and how this happened.
How this event came to be,
It's how this partnership came to
how
be.
this
We
partner.
met.
Oh, you want me to tell the story?
Okay, how,
I'm
how about
mirroring
I'll
you.
start, you jump. Okay, so we met. The Crystal
Yes.
and Amy flagship came together.
Yep.
We met when I was speaking and decided, like, oh, we've got to keep doing this. And
Mhm.
so you supported me while I was creating a speaking event in Hickory about spirituality and self care.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I said, I'll support you when
You
you
did.
um, when you start
Yeah.
doing yours in Raleigh. So we've
Yes,
got a speaking event coming up in
we
Raleigh.
do.
If you're local, it's on July 13th, but that's the only detail I'm going to say because this is Crystal's show.
Oh
I'm
my
just showing up.
goodness. Oh my goodness. So I'm so excited. So meeting Amy was another pivotal moment,
Oh,
if you will.
stop.
So I listened to her speak, and um, we realized that she's a health coach. I'm a health coach. Different, like there's enough coaching out here for everybody, right? There's a demographic that Amy can tap into that I can't, one that I can tap into that she can't. So we started talking. Let's do this thing, right? And so one of the things that is exciting for me is because even though I'm just this totally evolved person, I still have things that I'm just not so evolved at. One of them
Yeah.
is like doing creating events. So I told Amy, I said, you know what? Yes, I'll support you in that. And then we map out this whole year thing. Like we're gonna do this and we're gonna do this. And I'm like, I'll do it in July. And I'm like, oh my God, I said I was gonna do it in July. Oh my goodness, what's happening? Because I wanna,
You shared it.
do that. And I did it.
You shared it. You put it
I
into the world.
shared it. I
You
put it
shared it.
into the world.
Yes.
Right?
And I told you when you picked that date. When you picked the
Oh
date to do it,
my
I said,
goodness.
girl, the day I picked the date and put it in the Eventbrite, I had diarrhea like 3 times. And you were like, I'm cool as a cucumber. And then you picked that date and you were like, oh, it's
I
on.
feel like I'm gonna throw up. Yeah, and I'm good. And so anyway, on July the 13th from 11 to 2,
Mhm.
here in Raleigh, we are going to have what I'm calling a midsummer sizzle self-care, right? Because I know if you're anything like me, the
Mm.
summertime is a busy time. You're visiting, you said at the beginning, barbecues and I
Ice
forget the
cream.
ice cream and barbecues, right? And swimming pools and trips to the beach and vacations and all, and you're doing all of these things,
Mm.
and self-care sometimes falls to the wayside, right? So it's just like a midsummer reminder that, hey, you still need to be working out, you still need to be drinking your water, you still need to see your chiropractor, or all the things that you've been doing, because before you were too busy to do them because kids were in school and work and blah blah blah. Now you're too busy because you're too busy having fun, which is not a bad thing. And then there'll be a focus on summer specific self-care.
Yeah.
And I just came off vacation, and so this is going to be really heightened for me because I got a sunburn because I was having so much fun in the sun on vacation that I did not reapply my sunscreen,
Girl.
right? So
That's a rookie
I think it's
mistake.
going to be very timely. It's not a rookie mistake. It is a rookie mistake. I'm not a rookie, and it's a rookie mistake. So we are going to
Mm.
give away some prizes, have raffle, and give away some prizes. And the wonderful Amy Chang is going to be our
What?
guest speaker. Yay!
Mm.
So
I'm
I'm
excited.
super excited. We will have some vendors that will share and contribute to the raffle
Mhm.
prizes. And we'll also be raising money for an organization called Christ Saves Hearts.
Okay, tell
The
us a
Christ
little
Saves
bit about
Hearts
that.
Foundation. And this is an organization that focuses on heart health for, especially in the African American community, because we tend to go to the doctor less. We tend to ignore the signs more of heart disease. And so this organ,
Can I sneak in
yep,
right there? Okay. Just
yep,
to put some reality out there. Um, Also, there's like less education.
yep,
Historically, there has been less education about
mhm,
all
mhm,
forms of healthcare into the
yep,
African American community, and there's
yes,
been less access for
yes,
healthcare into the African
yes,
American community. And there's also been studies done that are good studies, not teeny tiny ones, that document
mhm,
like the delay of
yes,
time it takes
yep,
for a black person entering in through the ED to
yep,
get care compared to a white person entering into the ED, especially when it
mhm,
comes to cardiovascular stuff.
yep.
So,
All those things are true.
um, I'm really grateful that we're doing this
Mhm,
particular charity. If you don't know, whenever Crystal and I put on a thing, when
mhm.
we do a thing,
When we when we do a thing.
when Crystal and I have playtime, we send all the proceeds to charity because
Mhm.
it's one way we can use our gift to support,
Right.
without just cutting a check, with making a difference in people's lives and in that specific nonprofit, and bring awareness to that nonprofit so that
Absolutely.
fill the coffers and bring awareness and use a gift that we've been given of coaching.
Absolutely.
So it's a really great way for us to contribute. And I'm super excited to do this one because it is in my background, right? Like I worked in the cath
Yeah,
lab, like I know about those studies, and it's a it's a spot that's been missing. And I'm glad that there's somebody who is, well, there's lots of people now. I think that more awareness is there,
absolutely.
but I'm really
Absolutely.
glad to be supportive of that.
Absolutely. Yes. So that's what we're gonna do. We're going to have some laughs, we're gonna have some fun, meet some new people, maybe do some spontaneous laughing,
Oh gosh, if
dancing,
you make
who
me do that,
knows?
girl, I'll do it. I
Of
mean,
course
I'll
you
do it.
will. No,
I know.
and you'll enjoy it. It'll be fun.
I
It'll be
will.
really
Like, give
fun.
me 30
Yeah.
seconds in. It's just like any other thing. Like, you dread going, but as soon as you get there, it's going to be fine.
It's gonna be fine.
You
Yes,
know,
that is my motto in life. It's gonna be fine.
it's going to
Just
be
do it.
fine.
Hey, I went zip lining for the first time. anything is possible.
And here you are. You
And here I
survived.
am.
No
I
one spontaneously
survived.
busted.
I didn't drop out of the sky.
What
It's
was
good.
that like to do that for the very first time?
It was first terrifying because
Mhm.
I said I wasn't gonna do it. Right? I was like, just wipe that all off the agenda. I'll just sit here and wait until the group comes back, and then I'll pick up and do all the other things.
So what
And
had you choose to do that? I mean, pause that. What had
well,
you choose to do it?
we got this excursion package that had zip lining, dune buggy rides, horseback riding, it had a lazy river and a lagoon and all these things. And so I wanted to do horseback riding. That was my one objective. So I said, I will wait, I'll sit out on the zip lining part of it, and then I'll wait for the horseback riding. And we get there and they said, okay, your group is gonna do zip lining first, then the dune buggy, then the horseback riding. Now let's go. Like there wasn't an option not to, and I'm like, oh my god. I was with one of my nieces who just graduated high school, and she had also made the determination that she wasn't going to do it. So we had a plan. We were going to sit together and we were going to wait for the rest of the group to come back. And when they said that, we both looked at each other and we were like, okay, let's go. Now I'm thinking, I can't, I'm 57 almost. She's 17. I'm like, I can't, I got to step up.
I gotta be
And
big
so,
for my niece.
and on the walk and, getting dressed, putting on getting the harness on and getting the helmet on and everything, we started to encourage each other. She's like, come on, Auntie, we can do this. I'm like, yes, we can do this. We're going to do it. And we did, so the first one was the scariest one, right? We also didn't know that there were 6 lines. We were going to zip 6 times before we land in water. Right? And so we didn't know until we were going up to the first one. Because I'm thinking, okay, it's just going to be one. We're just one and done. They were like, oh no, you got 5 more after this. So look, I
I
got
think
my
that
heart just
sounds so
picked up
much fun.
just thinking about it.
So
It was a lot of fun, and then I shifted my perspective. I'm up here now. The only way out is down. So then I shifted my perspective, and then I was able to say, wow, this is amazing to be sitting over the trees
so you started to
and
enjoy
looking
it.
at stuff. So I started to enjoy it. But I did pray a lot, and I
Yeah,
did
well,
get a little closer to my Savior. Just being honest. I'm like, Lord, don't let me drop out of the sky. Please hold me up. And he
oh, I
did.
think that's perfect. Well,
Yeah.
we said in the very beginning, one thing that helps you make changes is sharing it with other people and
Share it with other
believing into your
people.
higher power. Okay,
Yeah.
good
And
deal.
that's what happened. And then just doing it. Like who's that? Michael Jordan. Just do it. Just do
Yeah.
it.
I
Yeah.
just had a client today. I've worked with her for 3 months. She's my youngest client ever. She's 22. And I worked with her with my intern. And we had a closing session. And I said, okay, so what is the thing that you are taking with you out of this experience into your future growth that you want to take? And she said, just push through it. And I was like, done deal, that needs to be on a t-shirt, girlfriend.
Yeah. Just push through it. You
Just
can
push
do
through
it.
it.
Or fly
in
through it.
okay. And in I know, or zip right through it,
Zip
in
right
the
through it.
context of self-care,
Yes.
permission, and choice.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the
Absolutely.
paradox that we live in. I
Mhm.
think sometimes we think if we're self care, we're going to be selfish. I think if we think that we're going to listen to our bodies and stop when we need to, we're going to be complacent.
Mhm.
Like there's a lot of when you said something about like there's reasons why people don't do what they think, and it could be fear, and it could be, and all of it lives right there.
All of it lives right there.
Yeah, and that's why we have jobs,
Yeah, absolutely.
and
We're
that's
here
why
to
we're
help
functioning
push
well.
your mind. We're here to help you change your mind so your mind can push your body to do the things that you want to do,
Yeah, that you're really committed to doing.
that you're really committed to do it, that and help you find your passion. Like
Mm.
helping you giving giving you permission, as Amy said earlier, to live your passion.
Mm. And your passion is just being a badass auntie sliding down a zip line.
We got to the end and she was like, "Whew, I'm glad we did that." I'm like, "I'm glad we did too." And I'm glad we got to do it together. But it was
Mm.
exciting. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
There
I
you go.
want to just say thank you so very much
You're
for popping on.
welcome. Thank
Um,
you.
so for those of you, was supposed to say this, I think, in the beginning, and I forgot. It's July, and all of July at Healthy Life, Health and Wellness Coaching is freedom from self
Mm,
limiting
I
beliefs.
love it.
Yes, and that's part of our self-care, and that's part of what has us move forward, and
Mhm,
clearly, my
mhm.
friend Crystal just celebrates with freedom from self-limiting beliefs and is here to
Yay.
tell about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do it again. We may have to cut this one in half, I don't know. All right,
Good.
guys, if you'd like to get in touch with Crystal, tell them how to get in touch with you, and we'll put it in the show notes.
Yes, you can find me on my website, crystalsqlawson.com, or you can find me on the Insta, as some people call it, at Simply Uncomplicated SM. I took out the vowels.
Oh, okay. Man, I hate that about Instagram. I'm like, I don't know who this person is. It's like
Right,
Amstead. Who's
right.
Amstead? I don't know anybody named Amstead. And then I'm like, oh, that's my next door neighbor. Like,
Yes,
I don't
yes,
know.
yes. So I'll provide my link tree that'll have all my links and you can put
Oh,
that in the
great.
show notes as well. So
Good. We'll
yeah.
put all that in the show notes. And you can show up if you are in Raleigh on July
Yes.
13th. Tickets are
On
on sale
July
now.
13th. Yes.
And we'll see you then. If
Yes.
you loved this podcast, if you got something from it, if you felt inspired, please like, subscribe, share it with a friend. Above all things, um, try new things and give yourself some grace for whatever you learn because you're just moving forward. And we'll
Love
see you next time on Healthy AF.